In many situations, organizational teams are created to execute an organizational objective, not because that goal requires creativity or problem solving, but rather because it simply takes a lot of people with a lot of different skill sets to actually deliver on that objective. This type of high-performing team is focused more on coordination of individual efforts. Teams that require high levels of coordination may require a different leadership approach than, say, a creative or decision-making team. Imagine the prototypical tactical teams. Surgery teams are tactical. Everyone has a specific role in the team with a clear hierarchy and high levels of communication, with the shared goal of executing the medical intervention. Sports teams are also tactical. There are specific positions requiring specific skills, with a clear leadership hierarchy. Teams that fail to coordinate and communicate are destined to lose, even with individual stars to lift their performance. I'm from California originally, so of course I always think of SWAT teams, executing a particular policing objective, again with clear roles, hierarchy, and communication. But this happens in organizations too. Project teams are given a clear delivery objective. Each of the pieces can be done by an individual, but the complexity of the task requires different individual skill sets and coordination in order to put the pieces together seamlessly. Again, such organizational teams have clear objectives with clear roles or expertise and requiring communication between these roles. I will refer to these teams as tactical, but I use the term loosely, covering the broad range of teams requiring coordination of individual roles to achieve a shared objective. So how can leaders set their teams up for success? We can start by considering what needs to be done to prepare the team for executing their objectives. First and foremost, tactical teams must have a clear objective. If the objective is not clear, individuals may interpret the team goals differently, leading to individual behaviors that do not properly align. For a fun example, let's imagine an events team has been given a loosely defined objective to deliver a relaxed awards evening for a client in a short amount of time. Team members take on different roles, dividing up the variety of individual tasks. One person takes care of entertainment, another does catering, another finds the venue, and so on. If the objectives are not clear, each individual may have a slightly different picture of what they are delivering, and failure to recognize and reconcile these inconsistencies among team members may result in an awards evening serving a barbecue dinner in an elegant hotel with disco music. My example here is humorous, but consider how this could play out with higher stakes, like in the construction industry. If every person on site is not perfectly clear about every step in the build, you are risking time, money, and potentially even safety. In order to execute a group task well, a team member must understand the collective objective, their own individual sub-objectives, and how their individual contribution fits into the broader picture. This can be done by providing a clear objective in the first place, or it can be accomplished by spending time at the start of the team process, giving members the opportunity to understand the task brief, resolve ambiguities, and discuss how the team can best deliver on their unified objective. The importance of clarity goes beyond just the task itself. Role clarity is also critical for execution. We can think of this in terms of different team members tackling different parts of the project that fit their technical expertise. Clearly, this is important to resolve before task execution begins. A soccer team with unclear positions looks like my 7-year-old's team, what we affectionately refer to as swarm-style soccer. However, we can also think of role clarity in terms of the group dynamic that it produces. Effective teams will have different team roles that together make up a high-performing team. One of the more commonly used taxonomies of team roles was developed and commercialized by Belbin. The Belbin approach identifies team roles that are action-oriented, people-oriented, or thinking-oriented. Action-oriented roles include the implementer, who is practical and reliable, organizing the work so that ideas turn into action. The shaper, who challenges the group, thriving when under pressure and when faced with obstacles. And the completer-finisher, who is detail-oriented, conscientious, and perfectionistic. People-oriented roles include the coordinator, who identifies talent, clarifies goals, and delegates well to others. The team worker, who is cooperative and diplomatic, often resolving conflict. And the resource investigator, who is outgoing, communicative, often serving a boundary-spanning role. Finally, The thinking-oriented roles include the plant, who is creative and imaginative, adept at generating ideas and solving problems, the monitor-evaluator, who is clear-headed, logical, and strategic, and the specialist, who is dedicated to specific and important knowledges and skills. According to Belbin, people are likely to have 2 or 3 team role preferences that they naturally fall into and excel at. However, unlike personality, individuals are flexible to the needs of the context and have potential to step into other roles when needed, although they may be less adept or comfortable in those less preferred roles. Clarity around both task objectives and team roles is often cited as a key attribute of a high-performing team. However, this is particularly true among teams required to achieve a tactical or coordinated objective. Clarity is also particularly important in the early stages of team development. The Tuckman stages of team development specify agreed-upon goals and objectives as a key aspect of the initial forming stage. Situational leadership theory also states that newly formed, less mature teams are best led with a directive style that helps reduce task and role ambiguity. Only as employees mature should leaders shift to coaching, supporting, and finally delegating leadership styles. Even research in conflict in teams touts the importance of having a good, robust argument over task objectives and team processes, but specifically at the start of the team cycle. Starting a team with constructive conflict and resolving those disagreements helps to get all members on the same page and focused on a clear, shared team objective. So even if team objectives and roles are not clear in the project brief, it is worth taking the time up front to work with the team to settle those decisions early. In fact, this is the perfect time to draw on the group's different knowledges, networks, and viewpoints, offering the opportunity to better understand the project brief, develop a variety of solutions, and collectively decide on the best way forward. This will not only produce better solutions, but it also helps with team buy-in. Failing to reconcile these ambiguities will result in inefficiencies later during task execution. This is where leadership and sometimes team hierarchy can benefit tactical teams. Decisive decision-making by leaders, when time is short, can improve both clarity and efficiency. Task and role clarity is a great place to start, but to really take your team to the next level, leaders can also provide them with an inspiring vision around that objective. Imagine, for example, a military objective to help prevent structural damage to key infrastructure during an operation. Setting up the team with clear roles and tasks will aid in efficient execution of this objective, but the objective itself is not necessarily meaningful. Instead, consider the same objective, but paired with a vision where protecting infrastructure helps keep hospitals open, or maintains freedoms for local families, or improves our national reputation in the region. Suddenly there's a higher order duty and honor associated with task execution. Attaching this meaning to an objective through an inspiring vision can drive team motivation and commitment, which may become critical if the team faces challenges during execution. Finally, tactical teams requiring coordination for performance require a high level of trust among members. If individuals trust each other to keep sight of the shared objective, to perform their role, and to help one another in times of need, the team will be more confident in their execution and be able to coordinate to overcome unexpected surprises as they arise. By starting with task clarity, role clarity, and an inspiring vision, and the foundations of trust, your team will be in a good position for effective execution.